Gotta go. We just had a good talk.
All right.
Sorry, everybody.
This is minute 32.
Ooh.
Minute 32.
In fact, I wrote the letters. It was all my idea.
Wait a minute. I don't understand. Why did you invite us here to meet your late employer? Were you assisting him to blackmail us?
Certainly not.
I think you had better explain.
Please sit down, everyone. When I said that I was Mr. Body's butler, this was both true and misleading. I was once his butler, but it was not his untimely death this evening that brought my employment with him to an end.
When did it come to an end?
When my wife decided to end her life. She too is being blackmailed by this odious man who now lies dead before us. He hated my wife for the same reason that he hated all of you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Clue the Movie Podcast. It is a movie podcast where we break down the 1985 cult classic film Clue 1 minute at a time. We are 32 minutes in. My name is Brad Gilmore. That's Jeff Smith. Jeffrey, how are we doing today?
Oh man, that was a very quiet clip for all of our listeners of them just all walking around a room and sitting down.
You know what we should do one day?
Beautifully choreographed scene. Beautifully choreographed. Oh my goodness. I wonder. I don't know how many takes, but I doubt that was take one.
Oh, the blocking on that one, it was sensational.
Yeah.
We got to talk about it. Well, one day what we really should do is play a joke on our listeners and be very Andy Kaufman-esque and just like have it be silent for 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And maybe turn the volume way down so they have to turn the volume way up and then it comes way up. You know what I mean?
Then at the end, just, I am your singing telegram.
Great
Yeah,
stuff.
we'll just play the FBI warning from the old VHS tape. And that'll be the minute.
Well, this minute begins with the continued explanation of Wadsworth, where we picked up from the last one, where he talked about, I'm not the butler, but I am a butler. In fact, I was his butler. And then we're trying to get into exactly what he meant by that. And then, yes, there's a interesting setup of where Mr. Green's going to sit. And then some revealing details by Wadsworth, which I want to investigate a little bit more with you on this.
His wife has ended her life.
The wife ending the life. I guess, where do we start here? Should we start with Wadsworth's explanation, or should we start with the Mr. Green thing? Because there's not a lot there, but I like
sitting down. Well, poor Mr. Green, he just wants to sit down, but he finds a way. I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll work out just fine. I do. It's often we talk about a lot how poor Mrs. White is always one step behind in this movie, and she is the one at the beginning that goes, I don't understand. But good for her. She stops everything to say, let's tell us what is going on.
I actually think
Mr.
that
Wadsworth.
this was for Mrs. White, who's always stepped behind, and Colonel Mustard, who's not always the most studious either, or observant. This is both of their kind of shining detective moments.
Because they asked the questions.
He was like, well, when did your employment end?
Yeah, when did your employment end? Good job, Mustard. You'll never be that smart for the rest of the movie.
But that's a great question.
Yeah.
If you're trying to figure out, wait a minute, you were this, because, okay, we've established that he was a butler. He was his butler for a moment. Yeah. He's not the butler of the Hill House, but he's a butler, right? Because this is, have we established this is Mr. Body's house? Or no?
Did we?
No, it's not his house.
I don't think it's his. I think that's what we talked about last time.
Yeah, we established it wasn't his house.
Because he says at the end, this house belongs to a friend of mine.
Right.
Whoever that may be.
Right.
Played by Robin Williams.
The friend of his has to be the butler.
Because butlers, I like to think that butlers hang out and think they have a break room somewhere.
They have to have a butler hangout.
Yeah, where they all sit around and smoke cigarettes and go, ugh. Again with the laundry. I don't know why. They don't do laundry, do they?
They don't.
I've never had a butler. One day. No, I would. Would you want a butler?
Absolutely not.
Would you feel guilty? No.
I don't like the
I
idea.
don't even think I could get a massage.
No, I can get a massage.
Okay, I can't do that because I would just feel like I'd feel like arrogant. Like, here, you
rub my back.
rub my shoulder.
Now, let me ask you, Jeff. This is a
Yes.
little off topic. Have you ever had a massage?
Once, and I didn't like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for that very reason. I thought, oh, she hates this.
Oh, okay.
I pictured that it was in Japan.
You were in Japan?
Yes. In Japan.
What were you
like,
in Japan for?
Oh, why does anybody go to Japan? But
Wait, what?
to get a massage. I thought, let me get out of the country. If I'm going to do this, I want to do it far, far away from where anyone knows me. So yeah, I got one of those places, like old school places, where I like went out in the robe, the very colorful robe, and it was a spa. And I went in like with the gentlemen who were all naked, and I was not. I think it was a spa. Maybe it was I don't know. There was a language barrier. But yeah, I got a massage in a room with other people also getting massages. And the poor girl was like doing her thing. And I just thought, she hates this.
So you weren't in your own private room?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I think that you may have had the bad massage experience.
Yeah.
Maybe this wasn't the right first experience for a massage. Now, I will say, this is so off topic, but I will say.
That's all right. We got here from Butlers.
Yes, we got here from Butlers, but I like a good Thai massage, and there's a place my wife and I go to quite frequently, and a Thai massage is great. The best thing that I've ever been, normally they don't, people don't talk as they're giving you a massage. It's supposed to be like this psychedelic thing. But this woman leaned down into my ear and she said, the greatest thing anybody's ever said to me in this situation.
Aren't you Brad Gilmore?
She said, "Aren't you Brad Gilmore from the Clue the Movie podcast?"
Aren't you from that one podcast?
I've heard your voice before. She said, "Can I walk on your back?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Absolutely." And it is, I had more pops in my back and muscles stretched and relaxed than I even knew existed. I didn't even know these places existed.
That being said, I've been to a chiropractor.
Okay.
And I had no issue with that, but it was also quick and it was painful. So I thought, I don't know, maybe if I shouldn't experience like joy from it.
Yeah. Well, that's more of a medical visit.
There's a lot going on up here that I just can't experience joy.
Well, I would not
I can't believe we talked about massage without talking about making a Seinfeld reference, but that shows we're maturing and trying to stay on topic.
Well, but if you dated a masseuse. Right.
Or if a guy gave you a massage, that's what it means.
There's a difference between a shift and a move, Jeff. I've shifted. This was a move.
That's what it means. That's how you know.
That's the test. Clue. I wouldn't like a butler. So, but he was able
like a butler.
I wasn't like a butler. Okay. Would not. But I like a massage. Okay. We've established this.
On the record.
Moving on.
This is a good one, bro.
This is a great one. Now, the butler may have given Wadsworth the keys to the home. He said he wanted to get everyone together so that we could confront the butler together. I thought it was
odious man.
Odious, I wrote down as a great word.
Good word.
I wrote odious down as a great word. But Mrs. White kind of is getting to the issue. Like, wait a minute. How do we know y'all weren't working together? When did your employ? And then that's when Mr. Colonel Mustard says, when did your employment end with Mr. Body? And then he goes into the story about his wife. This is where I want to spend a little time.
Okay.
So he says that his wife was being blackmailed by Mr. Body. Okay. He says that she was being blackmailed so much that she ended up taking her own life over the blackmail.
What? Oh, we do know what she did. It's really bad, too.
We know what she did?
Yeah, they say it in the next minute.
They do. Okay, well, let's cover in the next minute. But
we will.
But I wonder.
I don't know if it's true, though.
This is what I'm about to get. This is what I was going to get to. I wonder, is this all an act?
Yeah.
In order to a little sleight of hand by Wadsworth. Because you want sympathy. So. What better way to get sympathy than my spouse killed herself because of this guy?
Right.
Now I'm not suspected all of a sudden.
Yeah. She killed herself because of the bad guy. And now he's bad. He made my wife not be alive. For all you YouTube channels, don't turn us off by the words.
Well,
not alive.
Well, but the thing is, think about it. Like, if Wadsworth, who orchestrated this whole thing and is really the real blackmailer, potentially, or had something to do with the blackmail plot, what better way, right, than to throw the scent off of yourself by saying, yes, I did have a reason to not like this man. I would never work with him because of this. And then you get the full sympathy card. No one else in the game piece characters you feel any sympathy for, right? No. I don't feel sympathy for Mr. White for whatever happened to her husband, not the good illusionist. Miss Scarlet, she's a, madam. You don't really feel any sympathy for her. Yeah, she knows what she's doing. She owns up to it. Colonel Mustard, a war criminal, we think. We don't know. Yeah. Mrs. White, politician's wife, no real reason to feel bad for her.
Yeah.
And Professor Plum, definitely don't have any sympathy for. Creep McGee.
And then Mr. Green, you don't feel bad for him, but you don't,
you don't dislike him.
But you don't,
I guess you kind of have a little bit of sympathy for Mr. Green to be able to, because he has to hide himself to keep his job.
Yeah.
The fake Mr. Green, that is.
The fake Mr. Green, yes.
Whose blackmail really isn't what he says it is.
Right. So to your point, if old Wadsworth has it all planned out, and this is like plan Z, if stuff goes wrong, it makes even more sense when Mr. Green throws him off with his fake confession to the point where he has to have his big telling reveal of the paper shift. He's got it all mapped out, and then wait, that's not right. And luckily, the suspects all move along without him, and that's actually pretty soon before he disappears. Wadsworth, that is.
Thank you. Pronouns, pal. Pronouns, pal.
Yeah, I know. That's not a pronoun. It's a noun. But I agree. I said
Wadsworth is the noun. Yeah, he is the pronoun.
Pronoun is he's the one that did it.
This is actually the wrestling commentary training. That's like the famous Vince McMahon thing of saying, don't say he or she, always say the name. Say Rock or Steve Austin. Pronouns, pal. Pronouns, pal.
When I went to
commentary school, WWE commentary school.
WWE commentary.
Yes, they actually have what's called an announcer's Bible. So they call
that'd be fun. If there was like a class on how to be like a fantasy camp for wrestling there's got to be, right?
Well, there's a Booker T fantasy camp. You're absolutely right. You can come down to Texas City, Texas, and you can have a fantasy trial of what it's like to be a pro wrestler.
See, I just want to be the commentator.
See, this is something that I thought about doing, a class on commentary.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's kind of like so this does relate to Clue. If they were doing a remake of this script of Clue and they said, Brad Gilmore, you're going to be an actor in this movie. Mm-hmm. You can play any part. Who do you want to play?
Oh, I could play any part in the movie?
Any part.
Any part?
Gender be darned. It doesn't even matter.
Singing Telegram Girl. 100%.
Yeah, okay. See, I would be the motorist because I think that's nice and easy.
Yeah, I want something that's easy, a day shoot, but memorable, furthers the plot.
You'll say you were in Clue. You're fine. Jeffrey Kramer, who plays the motorist, has a lovely career. I just got a message from Laker Jim.
Oh, shout out to Laker Jim. Hey, Laker Jim. Yes,
he sent me a message because he went to a convention in New Jersey where Jeffrey Kramer, who plays the motorist in Clue, was there. And Jim brought his Clue poster to have it autographed. And the first thing Jeffrey Kramer said to him was, "Oh, did you know that we made a documentary about this?"
No way.
First of all, you're being very generous with your Jeffrey Kramer, in your hour interview. But you were there. You were there, absolutely. So yes, I agree. We did as a group. But I thought that was very cool that he said, "Did you know we made a documentary?" Makes me sad that was probably the first Clue item that he signed. But the man was also in Jaws, so that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I think more people are going to go to him for Jaws than.
And he had a bigger part, Jaws.
Yeah, but the motorist
and Jaws too.
But
we
don't really
mentioned the documentary, which is nice. And shout out to Laker Jim.
Yeah, who's probably going to be on this podcast one day.
That's the plan.
Laker Jim,
Yeah.
claiming
What
minutes
are you doing?
far in the future. Can't.
What are
do
you
that,
working
man.
on? Your podcast?
Yeah. Fletch
Take
Cast.
a break.
Laker Jim's Fletch Cast.
Look for it now on all your social media.
Right. Well, never mind. I was going to go into something else. The paper shift, Jeff, that you mentioned, that
Yes.
Wadsworth does, by the way, I think is the most significant part. It's the most significant piece of evidence, in my opinion, of confirming our
Mr.
suspicion of the fake Mr. Green. I really do.
Definitely.
I think that's, honestly, I really think that's stamps it. So we're putting our money on this is a lie from Wadsworth about his wife?
Yeah, I don't think his wife ended her life, especially when we get to the reason in our episode next week.
Yeah, I want to save that because we can really dive into that.
Right.
Now, furthering on in this, does Wadsworth plan, as he explained it right now, does it make sense to you? Like the reason to bring everyone together, we all confront him at the same time?
No, I think it's a pretty bad plan. Obviously, it's a bad plan because it didn't work. And I don't think they all were, the thought of them all getting together and going, here we are, Mr. Body, like an intervention.
Yeah.
And say, you need to stop blackmailing us. All right.
Yeah, it doesn't really fly, does it? It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Okay. It was kind of a jerk move. You be you.
And then to bring all the weapons from Mr. Body, he had to know he's walking into something.
Can we talk about the weapons real quick?
Yes.
I know we're probably getting close, but I got another email. We get emails, folks.
No.
This
you
one,
get emails, and I hear about them on the show.
I share about them. I save them for these moments. This is Ben Ripley, who is actually in the Clue documentary and actually messages me frequently with his theories on Clue. He's a podcast listener. Hello, Ben.
What's up, Ben?
Yeah, Ben. He has a couple theories on episodes past. First of all, he says, I just listened to the latest edition of the podcast, still really loving it all.
Oh,
so we still got Ben. I've often wondered about Indian 3 and how Mr. Body fits into it. And sometimes I like to imagine that Tim Curry, Mr. Body, told his butler, in quotes, Lee Ving, that he was having a murder party and it was all an act. Otherwise, why would he go along with it knowing he could potentially be a victim? Even though it states that this is what really happened at the end, I'm reluctant to believe it because there is no way Mrs. White could get down from the nursery to the billiard room to strangle Yvette if she was still screaming upstairs. We'll get to that. Unless there's another secret passage from the nursery to the billiard room. Maybe I think about these things too much. But then he says, in regards to the weapons and the recipients, because we talked about this, who got what and why. I had honestly not thought about it much before, but I guess a wrench for mustard to kill the motorist, who might use one to fix his car. Mrs. White's illusionist husband could have used rope in his act.
Okay.
Okay. Candlelight for a romantic evening in Miss Scarlett's brothel.
I can dig it.
A dagger from Mrs. Peacock's backstabbing, which we alluded to, he says.
Yes.
And he's right, we did. Plum might have been firing blanks with all his affairs and no children to show for it.
Who was that for? Oh, that was for Plum.
That's the revolver. And Mr. Green's lead pipe could be seen as a phallus representing his homosexuality. And the way he throws it down in disgust, screaming, I didn't do it, shows how he is actually straight.
Well,
Now I'm really reading too much into things, he says.
You know what? On the first four, I can see all those. The latter two, bit of a stretch, Ben, but I
he's got
see
two more weapons. He's got to figure it out.
He's got to figure it out. You know what I mean? And I don't think we had anything
of elimination.
Better. Yeah.
No. Ben did the best of all of us. So well done, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably go a couple dark places with like trying to really figure out exactly why.
Whenever you have a pipe, you can go into all kinds of dark places. I've read.
You could even go into a prehistoric, parallel universe, as in the Mario Brothers movie from the early 90s, which we were talking about before we
started. You guys missed. If you thought we were off on a tangent on this episode, you should have heard the half-hour unaired conversation about Mario Brothers and
Larry Sanders Show,
Superman 3, and Larry Sanders Show.
Yes.
Superman movies and Batman 89.
And people who died after big events.
Yeah. It got really deep.
Very strange.
You guys missed it, but you got to hear us talk about
massages
and my fear of people being happy when I'm not. Or me being happy
when they're not.
Yeah. Like I can't be happy if I think anybody else is suffering. It is kind of a George Costanza kind of feeling.
It is a George Costanza.
I can sense what's the lie? I can sense the smallest amount of suffering.
Oh, yeah.
And then Jerry says, you pick it up at anything?
Pick it up anything now?
Yeah.
Don't you know the difference between salsa and salsa? Well, Jeff, I think that minute 32, there was a lot of Mr. Green stuff there. Oh, let me ask you real quick on Mr. Green before we wrap. His not being able to find the chair or the seat and everyone's taking a thing before him, and then he finally just moves the dishes over and sits on the little side table. Is that him furthering his act of he's kind of a more docile, not aggressive, more, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. See, it's true. He's not, he's certainly not pushy with squeezing into a seat.
Mm-hmm.
He's also accident prone. I think that part is true. I think he really is accident prone.
Oh, okay.
I think I'll buy that.
Let's keep an eye on this. Yeah. We'll go to minute 30.
Keeping an eye on Mr. Green.
Very, very keen eye. A keen eye.
A keen on green.
Keen on green and not an odious eye.
Yes.
Unpleasant eye. Was that what that means, right? Odious is like unpleasant.
Odious. Oh, it's, you know what? Tune in next week for the actual definition.
You know what? That's what we call a tease in the business. We'll find that out next week. What did Wadsworth's wife do?
I learned that from commentary school.
Oh, and you can sign up now. Go to my
Gilmore
Twitter.
At Twitter.
Let me do another, let me have another job. But that was minute 32 of Clue the Movie. And we're going to break down minute 33. Minute 33. A lot of weird stuff going on in minute 33. We're going to talk about it next week on Clue the Movie Podcast. ClueDoc.com, thebobradgilmore.com, Brad Gilmore on Twitter, Jeff C. Smith on Twitter. And we'll be back next week on the Movie Podcast.